Today I'm going to ask my colleague Padmapriya here to do his version of creating bonsai from these junipers. This variety is called Juniper Procumbens, meaning it is a prostrate one which creeps on the ground, and I use it as a ground cover plant. If you remember the videos I did for the video Wisley Walk, I showed the rock arrangement with the Procumbens juniper. This is the same thing that we use for covering the ground. So this is a creeping juniper, and because it's creeping, it lends itself to some very easy styles to make. Not that every tree needs to be a cascade, but it tends to be that way. But I'm going to give Padmapriya a free hand to do what he likes. There are two sizes here. This is a smaller one, and that's a larger one. So start on the larger one first,
okay,
and you can explain what we're going to do.
Okay, so I'm going to take it out of the pot as we would do normally. So I'm probably teaching everybody to suck eggs here, but my first job is to tease the soil away from the roots so that I can expose the nabari, is that right?
And the trunk, yeah.
And the trunk, yeah. Start seeing in there. I don't know if you can see in there, Jack, but it's quite packed. So we're going to try and tease that out a bit more. I'm just going to go and get a root hook. So quite often you find that there's a lot of the trunk is below the level of the soil in your pot. So you can usually take away almost half the depth of the pot, and you're still not really getting to the main roots of the plant itself. So, probably going to be a little bit difficult for you to see in here, but so now I can see that there's some of these sort of roots that have come from further up the tree. I'm just going to get rid of a few of those and just start getting back to the trunk. So you can probably see better on this side. So there's all these roots. You see where all the soil was up to this level here, and so we've lowered this level so all of this can go. So now you're starting to see there's a bit of a trunk underneath there. Okay, so then what I do next is I take some of these branches and I start reducing some of the foliage near to the trunk. So
You mean the branches near the trunk?
Yeah, so all I'm trying to do is create a few branches so there'd be less foliage towards the centre of the tree than
So how do you decide which branch to keep, which branch to remove?
What I tend to do is I tend to strip most of them back a little bit first, and then make the choice will come along a little bit later. So,
but you're not afraid of taking off the wrong one at this stage?
Not at this stage, because all I'm taking is either the weak growth or fairly small stuff near the beginning of the branch. So something like that.
The thin ones?
Yeah, so just something like that, just to expose. So when I'm wiring, I'm not just going to trap all the foliage down as well. It just gives me, so something like that, Jack. I don't know if you can see that. So that's very, very weak growth. It's probably not going to amount to much. It's also very close to the centre of the tree. I don't think I'm going to need it. So I can get rid of that. Anything that's on the underside of a branch, I tend to snip off because that wouldn't be there in the final design anyway. So that's one branch I've done. So then I'm just going to move on, do the next one. So you can see this one's done it naturally. You see, I've just ripped that one, but you can see it's already done it quite naturally. It's actually died back in there. That one I'll probably keep. You see, there's that one's that's not weak growth, so I'm going to keep that. But I'm still going to just take a few of the early early sort of bits of growth off, because I'm probably going to wire that in some sort of form.
Now, if you're aiming to make a cascade tree, are you looking for a main branch or shoot that's going downwards?
I think that the way things tend to work for me is I just keep snipping away, and then at some point some sort of design arrives out of
Okay.
it, rather than sort of so I haven't got a particular idea in mind at the
Okay,
moment.
just let it evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I work as well.
Yeah. It's almost like the tree will speak to me at some point and say, "This is what I want to be." But the main thing is just try and clear the trunk so that we can actually see what's in the middle. See if we've got any natural lines that we can just bring out rather than trying to force one ourselves, because it's always better to go with the tree, I think, than it's coming along. Not as quick as Peter, so might take me a bit longer.
I must say this is a lovely juniper because it's so green and lush.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at the colour, it's a beautiful
Great.
green.
Yeah, I think this batch in particular was just lovely. So again, just literally working away, clearing some of the branches, just stripping off that first bit of growth. Still doing the same thing. Yeah. So again, like there, weak growth that can come off. Weak growth that can come off. Oh, see, so now I'm starting to see something here. There's something quite nice developing in here somewhere. You can see there's a nice curve there, so it's sweeping over that way. So yeah, that's a possible front there. Don't know if you'd agree, Peter,
Yes,
but a possible front there. Yeah, I can see that now. So I'm going to be a bit brave now. I think I can start taking out, I think I'm going to stick with that as my front. So I've now got,
Opening out the front.
you can see now, you can probably start seeing what I'm seeing. There's a nice shape starting to evolve out of that. As Peter said, they do lend themselves to cascades, so I'm going to see it at an angle and maybe put that pot underneath. Oh, that's a nice pot, I'll put that underneath it. Just going to sit that up a bit, so I've got a bit of an idea. So a lot of this I'm going to bring out like that. I don't know if you can see that. I think that's probably at least one option anyway. So, lovely, look, that's going to.
So which is your main cascading?
So I'm thinking I'm going to do something.
Bottom one.
Yeah,
Two?
something like that.
Oh,
There's a nice split in here.
these two.
Yeah, so I might use both of those, or at least start with both.
Yeah.
It might come along at the end of the day that you kind of go, oh no, that's not really working for me. You pick one more than the other, but I think I'll start with both. So what I'm trying to do now is just clear a bit of space to get a bit of wire on these so that I can separate these two out. So we can start seeing there's two there. So I'm going to take one out the back and probably one forward. One will be a little bit higher than the other one.
One word of warning, I find that with these junipers, if you're not careful, you can split the branch very easily and you'll ruin one branch. So be careful how you part the tree.
Yeah. I must be honest, I'm a little bit nervous, so I'm probably working a bit quicker than I would
No,
do, so
that's okay.
good,
No.
good to remind me. So I'm picking a fairly thick wire. So roughly half the size of the branch. I think that's what we're trying.
Looks like 3.5.
Do you think that'd be a bit?
3.5. Oh, that should do.
Yeah, I think
3
so.
or 3.5. Yeah.
Thanks, Peter.
Did you measure the wire? Explain to
Yes.
viewers.
So basically, you kind of get a bit of an eye for it
Yes.
after a while, but I can see that there's about a foot on there to wire. There's
Yes.
about a foot on there to wire, and then I allow an extra third. So that should be 2'6" roughly in old money. So just going to start my wiring. So my first wrap wants to be quite close to the junction. It's a bit difficult to see my fingers in there, so I'm going very close to that. And the same on this branch as well. So my first wrap. What I try to do is anything that's going to be trapped by the wire, I try to clear that off as I go. So you bend the wire first, and then sort of introduce it to the branch. So this has got a lovely bit that's going down already, so I'm going to emphasise that. I'm going to keep that. And then what I'll do is, as I'm coming down here, as I'm putting wire on this, anything that I think I'm going to trap, I'll just snip off. And then I can keep the wire nice and snug to the actual branch. So I can see myself coming back up through there. So I'm going to take that round. I think this one lends itself to going out the back, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. As it gets thinner towards the end of the branch, you don't need to snip any of the foliage off. So I've pretty much got a bit of wire on that first branch. So I'm taking that out the back. You can kind of see now. Okay, so that's going to go out that way. And then I'm going to take this one. Again, bending my wire first, pulling it tight. So now I've hit the foliage, I'm now deciding where I'm going to take this and which bits of this foliage I don't need. So I think I can probably safely snip off some of this and bring my wire through there. So what I'm going to try and do is try and create a sort of a clump of foliage here, and then a bit of branch, and then another clump of foliage further down. It gives the illusion of being a little more older than it really is.
Looking at the tree from afar, if we come back and get a complete view of the tree, I remember in the days when bonsai was not very developed in the UK, many garden centres and nurseries used to just put these in bonsai pots and sell it as bonsai as it is.
Yeah.
You get away with it.
Yes.
I must admit, I've even seen them in parts of Canada where they produce their own bonsai. And this put in a bonsai pot without any further work looks very credible as a bonsai.
Yes, yes.
So you can understand why certain plants are more suitable or lend themselves to bonsai than others.
Yes.
But of course we're going to refine it a little more, so carry on, you're doing excellent work.
Okay. So yes, quite often you could stop, but quite often you'd end up getting rid of a lot of these thrifty end bits, but I think I can use these in my design, so I'm going to bring that back round. Again, try not to trap any foliage. Don't know if that's a bonsai thing or not, but that's what I'm trying to do. So I've got something there, and I've got something going out the back. So it just gives me something to play with. So I'm just going to walk away from that and let that settle down for a minute, and then I'm going to carry on with some of these. So this is always going to be too long, whatever I do with that, so I think I can safely take that quite a way back. And you can't really see my trunk too much, so I'm going to take off some of the branches that are just facing directly downwards. So that starts opening up. You might again be able to see, Jack. It starts opening up the underside of the branch below. So you've got that contrast between the green and the dark of the trunk. So yes. So again, just taking off some of these straight down facing branches. And I think there's a crown appearing now. Quite a natural crown actually. I'm not really going to have to do a huge amount. So I am actually trying to cut at a node. I don't always manage to do it, but that means you'll get a healthier tree. But you can also just pick them out. You can just pinch them out and pull them off. And that is the way I would prune a tree. Once I've got it how I want it, I just go around and just pinch them off. But you can see I'm starting to open up a layer there. Hopefully. All of those need shortening, but I can do that a little later. So I've got another branch going out the back here. So again, I'm just stripping off some of the weak foliage that's quite close to the trunk. Yeah. So I might wire that round just slightly, just as almost minuscule bend, but just enough to bring that into play out the back. So instead of it being tucked behind the foliage that's already there, I'm just going to bring that round. So I'm now looking for a branch to wire it off of, which might be this one that's next to it here, because this one here, I can probably bring round, I could probably bring both of those round to that side. Anyway, let's have a look at the back. Again, small weak growth, just snipping those out. Again, in my mind, I'm trying to create pathways for the birds to fly through. So that's how I think of things. So little birds, little squirrels running through it. If it's all a solid mass of foliage, they can't fly through it. So, and also that gives you this sense of depth as well, I think. So I think we can probably bring that round. It's ripped off, so I might have to, yeah. So we could lose that one. So let's just see. If we lost that, is there another branch to replace it? Yes, there is. So I think I can probably do away with this one. Quite a big decision, but I've got these two smaller branches that I can work with. And because they're smaller, it'll give a greater sense of gravitas to the trunk itself. So it's good to take some large branches out. These smaller branches make the trunk just look, you know, you get that contrast between the thickness of the trunk and the thinner bit of the branch. So I'm going to try and wire those now, hopefully without ripping them off. So I need a smaller wire for that, I think.
I think 2mm. This one.
Yeah, I think that one, Peter.
That is 1.5. This is 2.
Let's try the 2. I think the 2 is better. So again, yes, you know, I'm getting a rough idea of where I've got to go. Try not to waste too much wire. Now I've got to come down to there, so I'm going to bring that round nice and tight. And then what I'm trying to do is to try and bend the branch roughly to where I want it to be as I'm moving the wire along, and that way the wire tends to stay a little bit more snug to the branch that you're wiring. Otherwise you get all of these gaps underneath it. I'm just clearing a pathway through. So that's nice, I think. It's going to come around like that. Now I've actually got two choices here. I can either go for this smaller branch, which was my original. Yeah, okay, so I'll stick with that. So you can see my back branch is below my horizon now, so I'm just going to, if I can find my root hook. Drop it, oh there it is. Yeah. So I'm just going to clear that down a little bit more. So this is probably going to be below the lip of the pot when I've finished. That'll be part of my cascade.
So let's remind people that we're doing a cascade tree, so it's going to be in a tall pot.
Yeah. So now I've got these two which both come off of the same limb there. I don't know if you can see that. They both come from the same place, so I can wire these two together. And I've got options. So I can take this one up, which I think might be quite nice. I can bring that down, definitely, or I can do it the other way round. So I've got options, so let's get some wire on first. Again, I'm just going to clear away some of the branches where my wire is going to go. Or foliage, I should say, not really branches. So I've started that one up. I'm going to get this one on before I rip the other branch off. Take some of this off. That's better. So I'm thinking that the front one probably would be, if I'm going to bend anything up to form a crown, I think the front one's probably going to work better. I don't know. Or maybe not. Let's carry on wiring. I've got a nice, there's a fairly sturdy branch there. So I'm going to take advantage of that. So when you're doing your bonsai, branches would rarely grow on the inside of a bend. So if you want to emphasize a branch, I think what you can do is you can take that opportunity to bend it and make more of it. Like that. So I'm just going to start thinning out some of this skin. Go. That would even make quite a nice front.
Yes.
What do you think, Peter?
This is quite nice.
Yeah.
So what started off at the back?
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you know the number of times that happens?
Oh yes,
The number of times that happens. It's almost like you could almost lay odds on the fact that actually when you spin it round, the other side actually is going to work out better. Yeah, like that. So it's going to be something like that.
Nice crown.
Yeah. That one I can bring more into play. I've got this one here to do something with. Now that needs to be taken out the back a little, I think. Or maybe not. It's difficult to know. No, I think that is going to be the front now.
In fact, either side is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tease it out and I'm going to get it into the pot because I think the pot will probably dictate where we're going to go with it next. So you might want to pause, Jack. But I've actually picked this pot here. I've got it in a plastic bag because my hands are dirty and this lighter shade of pot will just pick up every bit of muck on it. But hopefully you'll see the pot and the end result.
Yeah,
but I'm going to
nice niching cascade pot.
Yeah. So for now, I'm going to keep it in there. I'm just going to take it over to the other bench, tease it out, and get it potted up, and then we'll carry on after that. So I've got to get most of the soil off of this because I've got to get it into that nice tall pot. So.
Look at the lovely roots on that tree.
Yeah.
So lovely roots. So we don't have to cut much. It should
No, it should fit in there.
pot.
Should fit in there like that.
And I'll just show you the soil we're using. This is our standard Herons compost. we use a secret formula, but basically the formula is equal parts of sphagnum moss peat or the peat substitute, and then we use akadama. There's akadama in it, and then there is all sorts of 2 types of Japanese volcanic grit, and sometimes we put a bit of hygge in it. So you see what a lovely grainy texture this soil has. So that is the state of the roots so far, and Padmapriya is now just going to put it in the pot. He's being extra careful not to dirty the pot, but he's not hiding it for any other reason.
Oh yeah, no.
Other than just to keep it clean. Now with these tall cascade pots, we don't have to tie the tree in, because with the tall pots the tree is not likely to fall out, so we don't bother to tie the tree in. We just ram the soil in.
Yeah, that's going to work. Yeah. That's good. Oh, that's lovely. I've changed the front again. Oh, it could be either side. It really could be either side at the moment.
So just ram the soil. So that's what we're doing. Potting it up. And I'll show you the rest in a minute. So here we are. This tree has been put in this pot, and quite different character, although the same type. If we bring the other cascade tree, we'll show how different the two are. So exactly the same species. I know we can refine it a bit more,
Yeah.
but look at it. It's exactly the same species. Both Juniper Procumbens. One was a small one was a bigger one. And within the space of about half an hour, we produced these 2 lovely trees. So all these videos that we show on our channel is not to show all these great big masterpieces that you cannot attain, but to show you how each and every one of you can create something nice like this and enjoy it. So thank you, Padmapriya, very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
He is not shy to be on television on YouTube, but we have other staff who do other things. They're expert in repotting or, planting, but Pad's got an artistic eye. So thank you very much, Pad.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.